Hey YouTube, Tom itself here playing some of the Battlefield Hardline Beta, the second beta in 2015, not the one last year after E3. Let's talk about the game modes, specifically their 24-player varieties, because I'm still on 360 and that's what I'm playing. In Heist, the criminals need to break into a secure location, or locations, grab 2 packages, and deliver them to 2 separate randomly chosen of 3 drop-off points where the helicopter comes and picks it up. If the package carrier goes down, it can be reset to the starting location, but otherwise the cops are trying to use up all the criminals' tickets. This is Hardline's go-to game mode. The biggest problem right now is that it seems to be too complicated for quite a few people. I know I played the previous beta and it took a couple games to get a really good feel for some of the changes they've made. So let's go over this one more time. There are 3 possible drop-off locations. One will be chosen at random when a package is picked up from the vault. If you summon the helicopter and it doesn't get picked up, then it might choose a different point. The Mountain Dew and Doritos have to go to separate drop-off locations. No, wait, shoot the Doritos and Mountain Dew, that's another game. I could make a case for taking both packages to the same drop-off point at the start, but when you see the first package going up in the helicopter and the other guy's running out into the middle of the street with the second package, he clearly doesn't know what's going on, or even worse, he picks up the package and takes it to the drop-off location that the one had been picked up a minute or 2 ago. Just because that's where it had been, even though there's the big point on the HUD, on the map, showing you where to take the next package, it just keeps running to where the first drop-off point was, just clearly does not understand the game mode. And of course you have to make allowances for the expected didn't realize he was carrying the package issue. It also takes quite a while to really learn some of these maps. The inside of this bank has got a lot of rooms, a lot of different paths, and takes several rounds in order to really figure out. Once people figure out the game mode and the maps, things might start to change a little bit. Right now, if you had a full team go in who actually knew the map, knew the game mode, it'd be easy wins every time. In the first beta, we had a slightly different version of Heist, but it was on, I think it was an LA map. That same map is in this beta too, but you can't play Heist on it. I don't know what's going on with that. Now, with all that said, I think this is the first time I've played 24-player Battlefield and not wondered, hey, maybe this would be a little more fun if we just had more people around. Now, maybe it's great, maybe it's even better, but 24-player Heist seems to work out very well. Now that said, that's made possible by a very careful balance between a whole lot of different things, including the guns, the classes, the gadgets, and not the least of which is the map. You put this on a different map, maybe it's terrible, but this bank map, it seems pretty good, and I'm having quite a bit of fun with it. Of course, there are plenty of concerns with urban maps in Battlefield, or any FPS game for that matter, like what happens when teams learn how to spawn trap. The police have the subway underground that lets them move around a little bit, give them some cover there, but maybe the criminals can just spawn camp the police for the entire round until the timer runs out. They've also introduced this element of randomness in terms of which drop-off point gets selected. Maybe one of them is far worse than the others, or far better. That can become a serious balance issue. There's also a good mix of close, medium, and long-range combat, and the weapons are balanced for close, medium, and long ranges as they exist on the map. I mean, it'd be possible to have medium-range weapons that were actually more long-range, but no, they've tuned the distances on the map and the balance of the weapon ranges very well. At least that's my impression so far. Weapon balance is a really tricky thing, but you can see I'm trying to shoot across the street and over into the parking garage over there with my pistol, and it's not doing much damage. This is a close-range weapon, so yeah, that makes sense. What I imagine a lot of hardcore Battlefield fans aren't going to like is that meant, especially in order to keep the speed of the combat up, compressing the range a little bit. Battlefield, you'd often see, combat from 10 meters out to 100 plus meters. I mean, the snipers like to go for 200 plus meter headshots normally. Not going to see nearly as much of that in Hardline, but that means the gameplay is a little faster, a little more like Call of Duty, and so we get to the one real downside of being on the previous gen Xbox 360, PS3, in that while things are great because it's faster, you get fewer players, that works out better, it's still 30 frames per second, so things can get really a little more hectic than the game seems like it's designed to handle. And the gun handling, it's Battlefield, it's a little on the slower side than Call of Duty, I can handle that, but what drives me nuts is that there's a lot of extra sway when you move around, bring the weapon up, and as a console player, the really discouraging strafing while ADS, because of the accuracy penalty. It's a Battlefield thing, but it always takes time to get back into a Battlefield game and get used to that again. So it remains to be seen what happens when players learn the game mode and the maps, but I think if Visceral can deliver 7 or 8 plus maps that play this well in Heist mode, they'll have themselves a solid release. I mean, there are a lot of ways this game falls short of its real cops and robbers theme, but this game mode is something new to Battlefield, but just a little bit different, and it plays to that theme, so if it can work well, I look forward to that.
Get off us! Look out! Cop car! I see a cop car! Oh! Hey! Fucking guy's down!
In Hotwire, it's basically Conquest, except the points aren't zones, they're vehicles, and in order to capture them, you have to be driving them fast. Something kind of like the movie Speed, but it reminds me more of Halo's rocket race game mode than anything else. And I think everyone's initial impression of this game mode is, wow, that sounds like a lot of fun. We're going to get a squad together, we're all going to pile into a van, drive around really fast, ramp off of stuff, and shoot grenade launchers at the other cars. And at first, yeah, that's what's going on, and it's a lot of fun. But it doesn't take more than a couple of games to realize that there are some fundamental problems here. First, Battlefield isn't really a racing or driving game. Sure, you can do those things, but it's not real great for them. But the big issue that needs serious work for this game mode to be anything other than just a throwaway game mode is that winning isn't fun. Oh, how was your commute today? Well, I didn't die. I guess that means you won. Huzzah! Sure, it can be fun if there are people coming trying to get you and you have to keep trying to get away from them and strategically drive around the map. Maybe that'll work out okay. But instead it just turns into, well, I'm going to drive away from the threats as fast as possible. So it's not surprising that people just decide to do other stuff, like just sit inside and snipe at the cars as they drive around real fast. Most of my games nearly went to the time limit, and when I actually PTFO'd and drove around all the time, didn't pick up many kills, which meant I took longer to get access to a lot of my weapons attachments. But we'll save that for a general Hardline video. I'm really glad Visceral's trying stuff out and making things like Hotwire, but it's not a reason to buy Hardline. I am on record as not being a fan of Conquest, and Hardline hasn't done anything to change that, but if you are a fan of Conquest, I think this map, the one they have in the beta, might be a good indication for you that this is probably what you're looking for. The scale of the map seems much more appropriate to 32 or even 24 players than Battlefield 4 that went all out on the 64-player Conquest. This seems to work out a little bit better with the fewer players, just a little bit closer together, but still, I'm not a fan of Conquest, and this does nothing to change that. Well guys, thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video. Expect a couple more on the Battlefield Hardline Beta, maybe even a live stream at some point. I'm still very undecided on whether or not I get this game. Also, might pick up a next-gen console here in a month or so, we'll see. I encourage you to download the beta yourself and give it a try and form your own opinions. No, I'll see you guys next time.